Greetings. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes of your time to introduce to you a very new cool tool we got here at the center. It is called eGlass. What is eGlass, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It is a camera plus a glass writing board plus a recording studio, all in one great little package. I mean, it's cool, right? So where can you use eGlass? Well, you can use it anywhere you need to create content for a course, whether it be face-to-face, I don't know, hybrid, online, or even remotely, because it will work with Zoom. So let's talk a little bit about how this works. Now, I have not magically learned how to write backwards. That would be impossible. The software in the eGlass takes what I write, left to right, and flips it. So you, as the person who's watching the recording, can read it left to right. If I can demonstrate that by sharing this book here, you can see that it's flipped around and backwards. So if you're going to share something like this through your eGlass, you'd want to make sure to use an additional document camera, which I have hooked up to ours, that you could share that camera view into your course. So lots of ways to use this tool creatively. Let's look at some of the benefits. And for the purpose of this demo, I am going to use only the tools we have available in here. I'm not going to use any fancy editing tools or anything along those lines to add some, polish to my video. As you can see here, you could watch me erase. It erases easily. But if you didn't want to share that with your course, you could pause your video. If you're going to cough or something along those lines, just like this. Ta-da, right? I have got my whiteboard clean. You didn't even see it. And I'm ready with my headers to go on to my next bit of the presentation here. Now, where does eGlass work best? I would say it works anywhere where recording over a PowerPoint just doesn't cut it. And there's a couple of reasons that can be. You can see here, if I was recording over or just annotating, I'm not just that pencil annotating over a PowerPoint. I am not just that small talking head. Of course, I'd be smiling. I'll put on my glasses and my beard up in the corner of my screen. I am Carl in all my glory, able to make that sort of eye contact with the people that are watching my video, with each and every one of you, sort of helps create that sort of more personal bonding experience that writing over a PowerPoint and recording over a PowerPoint just might not do. Also, it's really helpful for those things where writing is going to be a benefit. Maybe you have to create a timeline for your students, and you want to walk through each of the periods of something or another, and walk through each of those and talk about the different connections or how these connections occurred. You may want to talk about the idiosyncrasies of a particular Venn diagram and get all these points in here as they go. So you could talk through each of those. There are a variety of colors with the markers, so we could even bring in some red. Perhaps maybe you want to go over some complicated equations and walk through that entire process. Now, I understand this one might take a little bit more than my 54 inches of glass here, but we could erase and continue on forward. So you see here, one of the things that can be a really good benefit for me as well is as I write, it slows me down. It sort of slows down the conversation as I talk through each of those points. I'm also making eye contact with each of the points as I refer to them, and then I can refer back to the students. I can constantly bring the people in this video into the conversation. And the best part is, these all come down to MP4 files and can be uploaded into good old D2L, or lovingly referred to as bright space by all of us. Now, there may be times when, writing just doesn't work. Perhaps using these lovely shiny ink pens aren't the way to go. So what do you do in that instance? Well, eGlass gives you that ability to do so. You can bring in pictures. So I'm just going to bring in just a quick image here, drop it onto my screen, and I can bring that here. Now you can see here in this instance, it does block me presenting this, but I could step to the side here. I'm going to get E equals MC squared out of my way here and talk through some of these points as I'm going. But if I wanted to, I have the ability to sort of reduce the opacity of this picture a little bit. So now you can see behind it. I could maybe perhaps point to some of like the right ventricle here and talk about it a little bit more detail. But if that doesn't necessarily work, if I get too opaque there, maybe it can get a little difficult to read. I can bring that up into full view and then bring in some annotation tools. And just like use my mouse here to write over each of those. And when I no longer need that picture, I can pop it out. But also, if you want to use a PowerPoint to sort of help guide you as you work through your process, that's easily done as well. You can upload PowerPoints into this thing, and if you create your PowerPoints so they work with D2L, working with a lot of simple points and so forth, you can see here that I have this PowerPoint and the programming will remove the background so that I can share it one-on-one and sort of move through here. So maybe I'm going to have this sitting to my left, but I have the rest of my glass or anything on this PowerPoint I could bring into my conversation and sort of click through my PowerPoint slides and the different points that I have there. Again, I'll erase that so it's not in the way of my glass. But just like I was working in front of a class or in front of my students, I can bring each of these points in. So it's kind of a wonderful tool. And then if your PowerPoint does contain those pictures, again, they will come up. You can see again, I get a little block here. In this instance, I can't quite dim this down, but I can still refer to this PowerPoint or to this picture as I go through. And if I wanted to claim back a little bit more space as I moved on to another point, I could easily tuck that away out of my view. And I can set up all these pictures or these documents ahead of time so they're mine to access. And that's a really quick introduction to what the magic of this eGlass can do and how you can introduce it into your class. Now, as always, if you want to set up some time to work through eGlass and we can talk about how this will serve you in your course, you can reach me at carlkerrigan@une.edu or always reach out at cetl@une.edu, and I'm happy to help. Thanks for listening. Look forward to working with you with eGlass. Be well and have a great day. Oops, and let's